The truth is, I'm not very good at heel flips. So I'm gonna take today and try 100 of them and share with you what I learned every single step of the way. I guarantee you will find this video helpful, not only with heel flips, but how you approach tricks in general. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss a video. Let's do it. The first things first, as I get started, I just want to warm my legs up a little bit. I'm not going to be too concerned with make rate early on. All I want to do is make sure my feet are working properly. And honestly, I'm not the greatest at heel flips, so I'm going to be messing around with my foot position and flick direction a little bit. But I want to get that stuff out of the way in the first 25, 40 attempts. So that second half of the attempts are basically just grinding heel flips and thinking a lot less, right? You could think about it like a curve. Early on in the session, I'll be thinking a lot and making a lot of adjustments. And then as that session goes on, as those attempts go, I'll be thinking less, making less adjustments, and just more grinding the heel flips out. All right, so I'm gonna start by trying to remember all the tips that I've been given. I just get myself oriented with heel flips, right? So I want my back foot to sit in the heel side pocket. As a general thing that I'm practicing, I'm taking my back foot off of the end of the tail and moving it down into more the center of the tail, so I can have some space between my foot and the edge of the tail, so you can see grip tape right here. A very important note is I'm not standing like on the actual skateboard. I'm still 100% on the tail. A lot of times when I tell students to move their foot down the tail into the center, they actually don't know where that is. They're either all the way at the edge or they start standing on the trucks and trying to jump from there. So there is a space between the edge and the pocket. At first, I would just look down and see about a half an inch or an inch of space between your foot and the edge of the tail. And just try some ollies, see how that feels. The timing of the pop and flick and the power of the pop all seems to improve for me. So it's definitely worth a shot. So I'm gonna find that spot with my back foot, and then I'm actually gonna start with my front foot a little bit more on the board than I usually would. This is something that I was told by the community, that doing heel flips with your toes off of the nose is actually better than flipping it with your heel. So I used to set up more like this, where I would just drag my heel straight through the nose. But I'm gonna drop my foot down onto the board, and I'm gonna try to use a little bit more of like my pinky toe or the top of the ball of my foot, where all this wear is on my shoe. So that's what my first attempts are gonna be about, not about the make. All right, I'm gonna look down, get my back foot something that looks good. My front foot, I'm gonna have the ball of my foot on the board. No matter how awkward it feels, I'm just gonna give it a shot. There's things that I liked about it. I liked that the board stayed straight, and I liked the speed that it flipped. It just went a little bit forward, so the only thing that I want to adjust, I'm gonna try to pull that board more underneath me and see if it messes with the speed or the orientation of the flick. I'm still gonna be looking at my board a lot in setup because we're really early in the session, okay? And then I'm just gonna pull it backwards. See, that seems to be quite nice. Those two heel flips felt about as nice as they've ever felt. It dropped behind me. So now the next one, I'm just gonna try to push it forward. Do the exact same thing I just did, but now push it towards the toe side. Okay, again, look down, get my setup right, ball of my foot. This feels awkward, but this is what I'm doing, and I push it a little bit forward. All right, so that one was the first one that got interesting, because I push it forward this way, and it shoots back out. But when I pull it backwards, it goes heel side. So this is the position I'm in where I have to figure out, okay, why is moving the board out towards my toe side connected with it flying too far forward? And why, when I pull it underneath me, does it sit backwards? More important than why, let's say, what do we do about it? If that's true, what would we do? So I'm gonna abandon pushing it forward because I didn't like where the board was. I'm gonna pull it back underneath me, do a heel flip. I'm just gonna jump backwards off of my back foot and see if that puts me in a good spot. No complaints. That's pretty decent. I ended up a little bit on the toe side. I can definitely fix that by, I could do a couple of things. I could just jump more backwards. When I squat for the heel flip, I could just let myself sit my weight on my heels a little more, rock off the heel side of the board, and then do the same thing. But that seems like a decent foundation to do good heel flips, and now it's just gonna take some practice. So I'm gonna rifle off a couple more. Okay, so adjusting your weight in your squat is actually not the simplest thing. Your weight placement at the bottom of your squat will affect your tricks just as much as foot position, anything like that. So if I'm having this habit where I'm squatting over my front foot and falling over the toe side, it's not so simple how we find that balance point at the bottom. So actually, instead of looking for my heels, I'm gonna look for my hamstrings a little bit. And what I mean by that is instead of just bending my knees a lot, I'm gonna try to bend them a little bit and feel a little bit stretch in my hamstrings, because that means I'm loading that heel side of my body properly. I don't know if you've ever been to the gym, but there's these things called RDLs where you are at the bottom of your squat, similar to this position, and you pick it up, but you feel all this pressure through your hamstrings and glutes. I feel like if I'm squatting and I'm feeling that tension, that means I have a pretty good balance point, and that means I can snap into the air and stay on my heel side a little bit. So that's the next thing I'm gonna do for a couple tries. Hopefully that just naturally fixes my balance point at the bottom of my squat. I just have to find it. It's not the simplest thing. There we go. What I like about that is I don't have to bend down too much. So it just seems like it actually saves some energy. When you're bending down like all the way and jumping super high, it can be like waste a lot of energy. Just that little squat and that snappy jump. There we go. Okay, I'm really happy with that. I could try that a bunch of times. And that felt good, that felt decent. Took a lot of energy, but felt decent. I don't have confidence in my foot position yet. At the bottom of my squat, I don't know what's gonna happen. Feels like there's a lot of pressure on my front foot, on the nose. That's something I have to work out. So, okay, well, let me explain this. What I mean by a lot of pressure on my front foot on the nose is when I'm flicking, that nose feels really heavy. So it feeling heavy means there's a lot of weight on the nose up against my foot. And you can see how like these marks are really like a deep white, like they're really scraping my shoe. So I have just probably a little too much pressure up against the nose as it's flipping. So what I'm gonna try to do is instead of flying through the nose, I'm just gonna find the nose and then pick up my foot through it instead of pushing straight through it. And we're just gonna see what happens. So I'm gonna feel it, I'm gonna feel the nose, initiate the flick, and then instead of just letting it go, I'm gonna pick up my front foot. Yeah, that's much, much, much better. I wanna count that one. feel like I fell because I was lazy. Clean. That was so clean. All right, so I'm just gonna sit off the heel side and jump to the heel side and do everything the same. We almost have our final heel flip. It feels good to be on the heel side and then not push too much through the nose. So a lot of the things that I did, 1, 2, 3. A lot of the things that I did in the first attempts was just figure out the balance and figure out that pressure on the front foot. If you can do that and have confidence that it'll flip, you're pretty much in a good spot to roll away. That lack of confidence that I had early on in the foot position is pretty much gone. I didn't really think about the foot position too much in the last two. My front foot being more on the board is actually starting to feel comforting. Like I'm gonna get the flick instead of like it's nerve-wracking that I'm gonna feel too much pressure on the nose. We're in phase 2 of the practice where, what? I got a wheel bite. I wanna count that one. That one counts. But phase 2 will just be making a bunch of attempts without really thinking too much. Turn off the brain a little bit. All you can do is grind rails. That's how it's so hard to do though. On a skateboard?
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can't, all you do is grind?
Yeah.
Respect. All right, let's just flip them now. It was almost a heel flip, yeah. It didn't flip enough because something was wrong with the flick. I'm sure it'll buff out. It should flip a little faster than that. All right, I don't like it rotating backside. That looks like trash. So I'm just gonna add pressure on my back foot, right? If it's rotating backside, a lot of times, for me, that means I'm popping very neutral and then I'm kicking my front foot this direction. And generally the board is gonna follow your front foot. So if you're kicking across, right, then that board will wanna go that way. So I'm gonna add some pressure in that back foot, almost like akin to a front shove. We're gonna push the tail a little bit forward. That should flatten out, that should make it stop rotating and also add a little bit of speed to the flick. I don't know about the speed, but that's my theory. It doesn't feel faster, but it definitely straightens it out. There's my flick. I feel good about that. I could take that heel flip with me all over the place. I could take that heel flip global. That heel flip's coming to Chiggy's. Skateboarding takes both of your feet. I want you to think about tricks like this. The flip trick is not just made from the flick. It is from the balance at the bottom of your squat and the way you pop with both of your feet, okay? If you pull your back foot backwards, that board will start rotating. If you push your front foot forward, that board will start rotating. But we can think about it like this. If we want to use both of our feet to do the flick, that means I can just push my back foot forward and push my front foot forward. That'll kill the rotation, let it rise, right? So it's a very active thing from balance and using both your feet into the air. Don't just think about it like it's an isolated, I set up my feet like this and kick that way. It might work sometimes, but you'll oftentimes have a day where it really works and then a day where it doesn't. And what we want is for you to be able to troubleshoot issues, so on days that it's not working, you can make it work again. Or, like I'm doing today, come at heel flips with a blank slate and find your way into a little bit of consistency. ease your way into every trick. That's the way I like to do it, because honestly, I think just repeating the same thing every time is unbearably boring. I don't want to do the same kickflip as yesterday today. I don't think like putting myself in a really small box and just repetition, that's not really for me. I like to come at it with a blank slate and mess with my foot position and mess with my flick directions and make a bunch of different heel flips work, make a bunch of different kick flips work. That's what I find fun about skating. It's also given me a lot of confidence over the years, because if I was gonna go at a trick on a vert ramp or a manual pad or whatever, I would just go about it the same way. Think a lot in the beginning, mess with foot position and balance and pumping and squatting, and ease my way into one I like for that day, and then grind it out. And you know, more times than not, by the end of the session, I learned something quite valuable that I can go use in my skating, or, you know, just yap about on YouTube. That heel flip compared to like the first one of the day is quite surprising to me. All right, so this part of the edit might be a little faster, like ding, 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 because I don't have a whole lot to say right now. And that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I couldn't make that many kickflips in a row. There's no way. I can't believe I just rifled off 11 in a row and then fell on the 12th. I really didn't expect to find a groove like that at all today, but once they started flipping, I didn't feel like I had to try. I didn't have any doubt. I was having fun. My back foot was involved with every attempt, and it just started working, and it didn't stop working. That's pretty rare. Especially on a trick that I'm not good at, and I've been experimenting a lot today. So to find like such a nice groove, it's just unexpected and rare. I don't expect the next 12 to work exactly like that, but I wouldn't get in my own way if it just keeps working. So I have no expectations on the next couple attempts. Sometimes your worst comes after your best. Or I just learned heel flips. I mean, they might be easier than kickflips. I mean, heel flips might be way easier than kickflips. What? No way. The rare, not the furthest possible place when you lose your board. All the years of board shooting away karma accumulated to this moment. Culminated, right? That's a word. Yep. Culminated to this moment. Is that how you'd say that? Heel flip. Oh, I want to do some small pop heel flip. Weird. The direction that the flick happens makes it feel higher than kick flips. Interesting. Is it easier to heel flip higher than to kick flip higher? Almost for sure. Because the direction of the flick being a little bit more forward, that back foot comes out here and that front foot comes up here. So it just feels like you get up and over stuff. Like if I want to heel flip onto the ledge, it feels like I can just go and get up very easily. Where kick flips sometimes feel tight, like you're gonna kick the ledge or your board is gonna go down into it. Maybe I'm just pro heel flip. Maybe I'm just converted. Let's get one up the ledge. I'm just gonna jump a little bit higher. I'm gonna pretend that flat ground's up here. I just need to involve my back foot a little bit more in the pop. Trust that the height will be there. A little awkward, I'm trying to force it into the air, a little too high, so it's slowing down the flip. Instead of going faster, I think I'm gonna go smoother. I get wheel bite a lot. Look how bad this wheel bite is. That's the worst wheel bite I've ever had, ever. Look, I got paint on my wheels. You ever seen that? I literally took off an entire layer. That's crazy. I'm gonna shoot that board just a little bit more forward. Not bad. One. It's not bad. So when I want to jump higher, I squat deeper and I end up falling forward a little bit. Noseward, right? A small squat is very easy to stay balanced. A big squat gets more difficult. When I'm going up to a ledge, I do the bigger squat because I want to jump higher. So when I get into that deeper squat, I just want to feel my back leg a little bit more. Control that squat over my back hamstring. It'll keep the board in front of me a little bit better. Should solve that wheel bite issue. Should also make the flick more consistent. There's really no cons. I saved it. That's so ridiculous. Four. That was an easy one. That was a nice one. 5. I am 10 times as good at heel flips as I was at 9 a.m. this morning. And it's 9:55 in the morning. All right, one more easy one. Come on. Come on. It's incredible how good they feel. I mean, heel flips just broke into the top 20 tricks for me. They're still so low. I've just never liked them, okay, to be honest. When I was growing up, I spent a lot of time learning kick flips, and then I just did a heel flip. I felt like they were not as stylish. I felt like they didn't feel as cool. With kick flips, I feel like there's this rhythm and flow and feel throughout the trick. With heel flips, I call it like a one and done trick where you pop and then it's over. There's really not much that happens in between, and I just don't feel my heel as much as I feel like my big toe during the flick. The catch it with both feet. Kick flips, I can catch with one or the other, or, you know, I feel like there's a lot of adjustments in personality throughout the trick. So heel flips, I felt like were a little too structured, didn't have as good a style, and when there's someone who does heel flips, they just do them a lot and then they only do heel flips. That's not true, but that's like when I was a kid, that was my interpretation. So I think heel flips are coming up on the list of how fun they are, but it's partly for the reasons that I just said. They're easier, they're smooth, there's not a whole lot to it. If you find that pressure at the bottom of your squat and you jump the right way and you move your feet, like, it's sort of like a tray flip, right? Tray flip is very much like that. Tray flips are done in the setup, where if you get your weight right and you learn the certain pop, it just flips. Heel flips are feeling like automatic like that. And watch, I'm gonna primo and die. Heel flips are now one of my favorite flat ground tricks. I want to get the heel flip manual. Heel flip mani, heel flip. Okay, this brings up a great point. When you want to land in a manual, what's going to change? Some of you will not have this problem. For me, I jump forward on everything. All right. I'm a firm believer that when you pop, if you pop the board backwards a little bit, that'll help it get in the air. I move my front foot backwards when I'm on the way up. That gives space for the nose. There are a lot of great things that come from that. One of the negatives is I land on the nose. all the time. So what I'm gonna try to do is start to land on the tail. I do not wanna do this by feeling more pressure against the nose because that takes my confidence away on the flick. So what I wanna do is somehow change the pop placement so I can stay behind it, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up exactly the same. I'm gonna feel a little bit extra weight on my back foot, and then throughout the pop, I am gonna still send the board the same direction that I always do, but I'm also gonna jump with it a little bit backwards, right? If I jump backwards, that's gonna make the board want to go forward, right? You can't see this because there's wheels, but if I jump this way, that just sends the board forward and I don't move, right? So I'm gonna add a little bit of that to my jump while I'm doing the heel flip. Oh, that was cool. I might have hit my tail on the, as I landed, but I didn't want to ruin the heel flip manual trying a heel flip out, so. I'm sure there's a freestyle name for that trick. The old foot drag. Heel flip foot drag. Someone call Andy Anderson. No, see, this is the example of I'm just too far over the nose. I landed it fine, the foot position was fine. My feet were a little spread apart because I was over the nose, right? I do have students ask me about this and it's quite difficult to explain, so let's take some time and explain it. Students land like this. They're like, my feet, they spread apart. It's like, all right, you have the ability to just keep your feet shoulder width apart. After you jump and flick or whatever, you can just bring your feet to shoulder width apart. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. But your instincts and your visual might not let you do that naturally. So what I mean is if you want your back foot on the tail, like I was trying a manual, so I'm gonna put my back foot on the tail, and I jump forward so I'm over the nose, now I'm gonna have my feet very far apart because my back foot's gonna be on the tail. In reality, my feet are just supposed to be here if I'm shoulder width apart. This is how far I am over the nose. So if you look at that last attempt, I'm trying my hardest to keep the nose in the air, but I'm like this. It's like, yeah, that just means that this is where I'm balanced. But I just want to have my foot on the tail. So where you're balanced over the board will affect your foot position a lot. Exhibit A. I don't know how to switch from kickflip to heel flip in a manual. Wow, I actually don't know how. How would you do that? So if you land here, you just have to jump. Oh, I've never done a manual heel flip. The reality of that is setting in. Oh, that was a good one. No, 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 no. Ah. That's two though, that's 2 attempts. Ah. Over the nose. Okay, just land in a clean manual. Take a breath. And go from there. Clean manual. Front foot low, which means board forward. I got scared. I definitely could have made that. I got scared. I didn't think it was gonna flip. Imagine not believing. Oh, I'm just not used to the manual heel flip, but who cares if you're not used to it? If it's good, it's good, just do it. Who's out here wasting time giving up good opportunities to make tricks? I would rather this right now than to repeat this issue. So when I end up too much over the tail, that's okay. I think I'll get used to it and be able to save that attempt more often than I will be able to save the ones where I'm too much over the nose. So that is good. Good by me. The right mistakes will take you a long ways. All right, that's 90. Let's do this. Primo. Let me get my back foot a little more involved with this pop. Push it towards the camera a little bit. Woo. There we go. Bah. Ah, nice. That was scary. 2 to make it true. The truest heel flip in Ohio. So that was, I think that was 3. Oh, that was such a good one too. Let's get through this. Double heel flip. I mean, I'm at 98. Would that count as 1 or 2? Count as 2? That's so hard. Let me just do one more to end it. Thank you for watching me practice heel flips. I definitely learned a lot more than I thought I would. Make sure you click one of these videos and you stay on our channel forever. Just like turn on your desktop, click one, the 4-hour one or something, and then go to sleep and just let it play. Just let it keep playing. Copy the link, go in your email, select all contacts, and just start shipping. Just start sending our videos to everyone you know. Okay, have a good day. Bye.